Welcome to Toasted Lavender podcast. I'm your host today.
Yes.
My name is Lisa.
Oh, I thought it was Delilah.
My name is not Delilah. It never will be. But so sorry. My name's Lisa. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Alyx. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Kai. My pronouns are he, him.
I'm Lindsay, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers, or, you know.
Oh, yeah, the third one.
The third one we talked about last time.
We were going to look into that.
But I brought it up, so that's probably why I remembered.
What are we drinking tonight, Alyx?
Oh, I should probably grab the bottle.
Yeah. I know that it's by Barbarian Brewing.
I know that it's delicious.
This is a special beer because it's from our first group trip we took together with the four of us to Boise, Idaho.
Baby Franz.
Back in, what, 2018?
I think 2019. This is from Barbarian Brewing. It's called Danger Sunset. And I think this one's the strawberry coconut.
Mm-hmm. It's like a tiger's blood delight.
It's totally like a snow cone. Should we cheers?
We should cheers.
Cheers, queers.
Cheers, queers.
We are drinking out of peculiar pours glasses, which is very fun.
It is.
Yeah, Spring Beer Fest or whatever.
Yep.
Did you
March
buy
19th
tickets?
coming on up.
If you're local to Ogden, the Spring Beer Fest is coming up March 19th. We may or may not be there, but it's a fun time. Lots of Utah breweries show up, and
surrounding states as well.
we always get hammered every time.
Yeah, that's true.
In a great way.
Yeah. It's very fun. So if you can go, you should go.
Yeah, check it out.
It's a great event that benefits Ogden's Union Station, which anything that benefits that, to me, is worthwhile.
What do you guys think of this beer? What are you rating it?
I feel
It
like
is
it's
so
such
tart.
a treat. It's such a treat.
tart, but it's good.
You get the strawberry, you get the coconut. I want it on a snow cone. I want an alcoholic snow cone with this.
Oh, yeah.
I have an ice maker.
I love Barbarian.
just up there with, like, a
I feel
knife
like
shaving
their
it down.
beers are so and they're so wacky. Like they go for it. Whatever they go for, like they do the Girl Scout cookie beer, and they do like
That
the
was really
peach
bad.
beer.
My favorite peach beer.
But that
My
yes, the
very
Ragnarok.
worst Thin Mint cookie beer.
But also like
worst
the
of wild
sour
rice.
punch beer
Oh,
that was, or the nerds,
Nerds.
The
that was
Nerds.
just like out of this world, and
Yeah.
the Arnold Palmer
Oh my
lemonade,
God.
like.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, I'm thrilled to be having some of this, but I'm even more thrilled that I'm having a 2-ounce pour. I don't
Yes.
need a 16-ounce.
So here's the pro tip. If you're in Boise, Idaho, go to Barbarian in downtown and go sit at their tap room where they have a board of 60 beers and order 5 flights and just try
Take
as
friends.
many wacky things.
Right.
That's what we love to do. We love to go up there.
We all try everything.
All try everything, but you only need like a sip of everything.
Yeah,
And then you take your favorites home.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's go to Barbarian soon.
Yeah. I think I would rate this 4.
Yeah, I give it a 4 as well.
I'm with you.
Consensus.
Yep.
With 4.
4's all around.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up another beer that we're having right now, which is Sadie's Special Batch number 2. Lindsay, would you like to add some notes?
I would. I would also wish that I could remember the grain bill for this beer, but I don't. So I'm just going to tell you that there was probably 2-row and Pilsner malt.
No.
No Pilsner?
Try again.
So anyways,
There was some
Kinda grain
barley in it.
there was the requirements.
Yep.
And there was a lot of Sabro hops.
Only Sabro hops.
In that there was only Sabro hops.
Mhm.
And there was a Mexican lager yeast. And there's also airplanes because it's World War III, but we'll get into that later.
No.
No, we're not. Queer Joy.
We're
season
in the
2.
season of Joy. We are not talking about World War III.
Okay, anyway, I can't remember the grain bill, but it's a lager. It's a Mexican lager with a hop profile that has a lot of coconut, and it's very fun. And it's called Sadie's Special version 2.
If you listen to last season, there's quite a few episodes where I'm drunk because of Sadie Volume 1.
Sadie Volume 1, I mean, she just
kind of-
opened the door to a whole new life for
And
us.
Sadie, just as a reminder, it was inspired by Sadie's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which we fell in love with. Kai is
what?
wearing
We
a
made it.
Sadie shirt today.
We made it exactly one episode without talking about New Mexico.
No,
Yes,
no.
we did good.
Last episode,
Did we?
we had a beer from New Mexico.
Yeah, we.
We had the bow and
Never
arrow.
mind. Never mind.
Sorry. New Mexico just has our heart. So today's episode, we are diving deep into queer artists, what that means to us. We're going to be talking about the LQ, which is our art zine, and whatever inspiration flows from that.
Don't worry. Lisa's here to host.
I'm here to host. So I was really thinking about what exactly shines the light on the queer community that makes us seen as like a specifically artistic or creative community.
Whoa. Sorry.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's big, but I love it. I'm excited.
Do I
what
need
you
to
have
break
say
that
next.
down?
It was like a laser beam.
I want to shine a
break
laser
it
beam
down.
on this.
Break it
It's
down.
exactly what I wanted to do. I feel like when you say any part of the LGBTQ umbrella, there tends to be this, whether it's a stereotype or a perception or whatnot, that casts this light on being creative. If
Like
you
they're
think-
kind of highly correlated. Like
Yeah, if you think-
a lot of people in the queer community have a lot of super creative talents.
Yeah, like you think about, just take your regular gay boy. Broadway, actors, theater.
So we're stereotyping?
Yeah, no, I'm taking these stereotypes because this is what
No,
got me
if
thinking
this is
to it.
part
Yeah.
of your thought, that's fine. Stereotypes exist, and we can't. Let's
Absolutely.
not ignore them. Let's talk about
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're talking about very stereotypical.
Yeah,
stereotypes.
yeah. I was just thinking, like, why, like, what exactly is it about the queer community that people associate creativity or artistic ability?
That makes sense because, like, it's like, oh, is your kid like the sporty type or the creative type?
Right, like you're one or
Is
the
he an
other.
actor or a football?
brain
Right.
or body.
Yes.
Think about like yourself as maybe like a weird little queer kid or a little lesbian
Yes,
or
here-
whatever. Like
We're here.
Are you? Yeah,
Yes.
We're all here.
We're
We're
all
all
these
ha-
people.
we're all
I
here.
really-
But it's like you were probably like drawing in a notebook or like
Writing
your-
shitty poetry
your-
in my case.
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. Kai had a thing for poetry. I had a
wrote lot of
thing
shitty
for
poetry.
painting. Like,
Cheers.
I think that there's a lot of weird creativity and you think about like, okay, the kids in my art class, the kids in band, the kids in theater, like there's always like a little group of
There's a
Weirdos.
huge contingent of weirdos.
right. And the queerdos converge in
yeah.
that space.
Yeah, that I totally agree with that.
So I want to hear what's your guys' opinion on why you think that is.
Resilience.
I was a jock, so I have nothing for you.
Oh, Lindsay,
She licks her lips. I have nothing to add.
you have a lot of creativity in your body.
Thank you.
You do. Like she's a beer artist.
That's true. I agree.
Like
with
you
that.
come up with these elaborate beer recipes. You edit our podcast currently. Like, you have a lot of creativity that comes from inside of you.
Inside of me.
I know that you played sports.
I did.
But you also have an extreme passion for music.
Ooh.
I would say extreme passion is accurate. Thank
Extreme.
you, Lisa.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I
you're
agree.
are you telling me that my passion is any more extreme than anyone else in this room?
No.
No, but I'm saying
we're not.
don't discount
No one's
yourself
saying
just
that.
because you were the jock.
No comparison.
Sorry, I was just trying to get out of answering.
You're
I-
involved with this.
She's honest.
I'm so happy that you classified yourself as a jock.
I know
That's so fun.
I think that's fine with you.
It is.
But you can be a jock and still be creative or
Going to Club
You're-
Sound every weekend and
goddamn
trying to
right.
learn.
You're goddamn right.
Alyx, what was your thing?
What do I think about the like queer artistic creative vibe?
Yeah, like, do you think that's an accurate representation? Did
Do
you have
feel
any of that?
Clearly artistic.
I don't know that I have that, to be honest with you. Like, I do a lot of Mormon handicrafts, but
How is
not
that
really.
different?
I don't know. I mean, as a kid, I did like a lot of. I make bracelets, right? And I still do that to like keep my hands busy. Yep.
I wish I could still remember how to do that. We need to have one of those nights because when I started cross stitching my jacket, I got out my little thread kit.
Yes.
And I had some like half done bracelets, but to be fair, I hadn't gotten out my thread kit for 10 years. Like, I don't know how to do that anymore. I'd love to. Like,
Okay.
Did you guys do
relearn.
boondoggle?
Yeah. Hell
That was
yeah,
my
I did.
shit. I loved
You're
boondoggle.
all a little older than me. Boondoggle was before
Well,
my time.
okay, rude. But
How is that even possible?
if you were a youth in the church, it should have been a part of your
No,
time.
my grandma would take me to Michael's and pick me out like 2 colors of boondoggle that I could like
Mhm.
craft with for
Turn
that
into
day.
a keychain or
Yes.
Or
A
probably just a
scripture.
keychain.
or a scripture.
Bookmark
Right.
place.
I really wanted to learn how to make like
Or a keychain.
a lanyard, but I didn't know how to like make a lanyard,
Yeah,
but I sure tried.
yeah. See, you had some creative juices flowing in you too.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
Boondoggle, like, I don't know, wasn't Boondoggle wearing like a boondoggle, or even that bracelet you're wearing right there? Like, it's some form of like expression, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking too, so Ogden has a First Friday art stroll, and that's where a lot of local businesses either kind of sponsor an artist or at least showcase their art. And just how many of like the prominent artists known in Ogden are queer artists.
Yeah.
And that's,
Even the art strolls like painted pretty queer.
it's pretty queer.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are just kind of, I don't want to say household names, but they kind of are, like people who are known here who are queer artists, and you see their art throughout the main businesses in Ogden. And that's kind of another reason why I was thinking there's something different. There's something different about all of us, right? Like, as we grew up, we knew there was something different about us, whether we knew what it was right away or not. I think having an artistic outlet was a way for us all to express that we were different in some way. And I think that's why creativity and artistic abilities are associated with the queer community, because we knew we were different. We didn't know how to communicate that. And that's one of those first things you learn as a kid. You're coloring in a coloring book, you're drawing, you're playing in sand, you're creating things, you're helping your mom cook in the kitchen, whatever it is. You know there's something about you that's different, and you don't quite know how to communicate that.
Yeah. I
Right.
totally-
Expressing yourself in a way that is maybe without words, or maybe just not, I don't know, like without having to have the vocabulary to
you may
express
not
how
even
you feel.
have a word. Or
Yeah, maybe you
language.
don't have the words, or maybe you're not ready to say the words.
Or you don't
Maybe
know.
you don't know they're your words yet.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. You don't know they're your words yet.
So last week when we were talking about Marsha P. Johnson, we were talking about Sylvia Rivera, and she was one of Marsha's friends and a self-proclaimed drag queen and very involved with queer activism. And she said, "We have to do it because we can no longer stay invisible. We have to be visible. We should not be ashamed of who we are." And I feel like that's like the exact reason why queer people feel like they have to express themselves, whether they know it or not.
Well, and there's a huge, maybe, I don't know, it's probably not just me, but when you're growing up and you know that like maybe you're a little bit different and you can't put your finger on it, but you can like go rent a movie that is very queer and like, or you can read about, I don't know, like listen to music and you know that the singer is gay or something, and then you get like a little queer charge up.
A little tingle. A little queer tingle.
Well, I guess it would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that my experience with this like creative, artistic slant is much more like the media that I was consuming and the art that I was consuming was queer.
This is the perfect segue, Alex. It's like you just read my mind. So it's like maybe we're not all like these amazing artistic people, but we all like helped our queerness blossom through other queer artists and other people expressing this
peace and safety and other
and just
people's
something
art,
to
even if it
relate
was just
to
for a moment.
Yeah,
something to relate to.
Whether we knew it or not, someone else was expressing this different perspective that was different because it was bubbling up inside of them that they were different and they needed to be visible, and that helped all of us. That's why queer art and representation is so important, and that's like ultimately, you know, go back to our Queer Root episode if you haven't listened to it in season 1.
Was
Because
that like our first legit episode?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good
go back
one.
and visit it.
But right now, I want to go around, and none of you were given this assignment. I literally want this to be off the top of your head. Like, who is the first queer artist, any medium, that comes to your head as being the most beneficial? And this isn't your queer root. This is just like, who is a queer artist who has inspired you, has helped you, who has been some sort of hero to you or role model, or maybe just helped you through some sort of hard time. Or maybe just someone who you like fucking respect and look up to and see how their art is making the world a better place and bringing queer joy.
Okay, well, for me, the first person that pops into my mind, obviously, is Tori Amos. And she's... I don't know, you may not like, that's the thing, is like the queer community is such a big umbrella, and to me, like...
Right, you say obviously, but maybe our listener doesn't know.
Okay, you're right. It's not obviously, but she is married to a man, has had children, has a very, like, cis, hetero life experience in her later years, but her music to me was very queer and very eye-opening and very much like shaped everything I thought about feminism, which to me, feminism is what opened me up to being able to come out. So that's my answer.
And also for the listeners at home, we have a giant painting of Tori Amos in our front room.
Yeah,
it's kind of a shrine.
I tried to like tone it down, but I have a bit of an obsession.
She's a big deal. She's a big deal.
But really, for real, like she steered me through her music, steered me through coming out twice and everything that came along with that both times. Like,
What homework would you give someone who isn't familiar with Tori's music?
Under the Pink or Boys for Paley.
Watching Will and Grace, and specifically the character Jack McFarland, Sean Hayes.
Yeah.
Just Jack.
Yes. I loved that fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
And
I also love that show.
there was a period of time where, like, I would request Thursday nights off because that's when new episodes would come out on TV.
I love that for you.
For, like, a while. I always had Thursday nights off.
So you could like do
So I could
whatever your home
Get my
routine,
little, like,
your little
macaroni
yummy
and
food
cheese or whatever, and sit in front of my 13-inch TV and watch the new episode of Will and Grace.
I love that.
It's so good.
And that was like a safe.
Very safe.
Yeah.
Very safe.
Yeah.
And bonus is that I really love the TV show ER, and I think we've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
But there are queer elements to that also.
Mhm.
And that
Yep.
was also a Thursday night TV show. So I had a whole lineup.
Of queer representation on a
Yes.
Thursday night.
I love that.
Yeah.
Lindsay?
Yeah.
It's my turn.
I don't know. I'm trying to think really hard about the things that made me feel like I wasn't a weirdo, which I think is kind of the first feelings that you get where you're like, I'm not alone.
Weirdos exist, and I'm
There
one of
There
them.
are others.
Weirdos unite.
I don't know. Do you call it a weirdo? So for me, that was the L Word
Mm. Yep.
and Showtime.
Mm-hmm.
And before the L Word, probably movies like Bound.
Oh, dude, I loved that movie.
There's a lot of movies for
Yeah.
me.
We've talked about this because it's the director of The Matrix
You guys,
that made this movie, and I've never seen it.
You've never seen Bound?
The
No.
Wachowskis? I haven't seen it either.
have
The
to do
Wachowski
an-
sisters?
We need to do like a small roundup episode, even if it's a bonus episode that's a roundup of our reviews of Bound. Because
Okay.
that is
Can
a
we
great
do a
movie.
Yeah, I
roundup
haven't
of
seen
like every single thing that we've talked about that we need to watch and
Yes.
we
Isn't it
haven't?
Gina
Yeah,
Gershon?
Make a
it
list.
is. It sure is.
She's like in every
She's like a
lesbian movie.
mafia badass.
Isn't
wife.
that Xena? Warrior Princess?
Oh, can I talk about Xena Warrior Princess as well?
Can I
You're
also
making
chime?
me
Can I
really-
put my bet on that stack, please?
I'm really like reaching deep into the bag.
Yeah.
I loved that fucking show,
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
Clearly.
And then I refound it on what was called Logo TV, which is the
queer channel.
channel. My grandpa had that on his TV in his house.
Thank
What do you
God.
say about cable? Like, I don't know.
Logos like
He had the Logo channel, so Xena was like always fucking on. And then I watched a bunch of like really queer like RuPaul shit.
Mm-hmm. On
And-
Logo. I love that. Did you ever watch Queer Eye for this not
The original.
yeah, like the original
Queer Eye for
Queer
the
Eye.
Straight Guy?
I think
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Because I loved that series.
Did you guys watch Queer as Folk?
That's what I'm talking about. Not Queer Eye for the Straight
Oh,
Guy. Queer as
then
Folk
no.
that had like Brian and Justin and yes, I
So
loved
Queer
that
as
shit.
Folk
That
was
called
before.
NSYNC, dude.
And- oh, that was good.
You're mixing Backstreet Boys and
In
NSYNC.
Sync
Isn't
and
Brian
Queer as
in
Folk.
Backstreet
Brian's in
Boys?
Backstreet.
No, there's a
and
Brian in Queer as Folk.
Yeah, Brian and Justin are like the main
Yes.
couple.
There's not
in
a
Queer as
Justin in the
Folk.
Backstreet Boys, right?
No,
He's in
so
the NSYNC,
Queer as
but
Folk.
Brian's in the
Queer
Backstreet.
as
they might as
Folk.
well be.
This is why I was not ever a
No,
straight
this
kid
is not-
as a kid.
no,
I don't
this is
know.
not-
The only reason I know
why.
is because of
Oh,
Kai,
this is not
so-
why.
Sorry, Lindsay, continue.
Queer as Folk was before the L Word, which of
Right.
course
Significantly before. Like,
if we study history, we know that all
There's not
the
gonna be
gay
a
white men get a show before anybody else.
Is this the
Mhm.
90s?
Yes.
Yeah, but it was a great show.
No, I loved it.
Speaking
I
of the 90s,
watched the shit out of Queer as Folk.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but did you know that baggy jeans are coming back?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know? Did you know that
Kai's modeling right now for our
You're
listener.
pulling your pants down.
I just thought you needed more room.
Oh, I did. I needed more room.
Oh my god.
Hey.
That's how it was explained to me.
It's also
It
true.
It wasn't
room.
fashion related.
I needed a little
Let's
more
not claim the fashion now, okay?
Okay.
We
I'm
know
so
what
sorry.
this was
So
about.
sorry, everybody.
Back
I
to
needed a
about
little more room.
Art
You
that
needed
inspires
room.
Lindsay.
Oh,
An
sorry.
We're talking about
artist.
Showtime, Queer as Folk,
Yes.
Justin and Brian
Yes.
in the 90s.
And I'll just round it out
Mhm.
with Hedwig.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yes, dude.
So
Okay,
that
that's-
was those were my experiences, and some you can sprinkle in Rocky Horror,
yes.
but for me, Hedwig was a little more, I don't know, visceral,
yes.
and so I really
So you
enjoyed
have the music element, you have the visual element, like it's all very queer.
that. Also Tattoo, the Russian girl group.
Oh my god, all the things she
All the things she
said
said,
run
all the
through my
things she said,
head.
run through my head, run through-
Yes.
Yeah, it was actually really fucking obnoxious now that
Oh,
I
but
think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it.
I love it.
We have it on vinyl at our
But
house.
Oh, no.
no, I understand it's very
There's a whole
kitschy.
poster that goes with it.
Oh, that kissing where they're like wearing those short crop tops and they're
And,
like,
Catholic
and then it's
girl
raining and there's like
By
a
the way,
fence.
you know what I kind of wanted to talk about on this episode, which like this requires a little bit more than me just saying it out loud, but Pussy Riot
Oh yeah,
with the state of the world.
yeah.
I just feel like that
They're coming out on top.
was
They are coming out on
an
top.
interesting thought
Yeah.
in this episode. I don't know a lot other than they like went to jail.
Yeah.
And like
We need to do a
illegally
whole episode.
illegally leaked stuff out of their jail cell.
Right? They
We do need to do a
I just
whole thing
liked
on
that like all the CNN newscasters had to say Pussy Riot.
I
over
love
and
it. Yes.
Yeehaw!
So my queer artist.
please tell us, Lisa. It's not been named.
It's no surprise to you guys, I'm sure. Amanda Palmer. Amanda fucking Palmer.
AMF.
That's what I used to drink at the gay
AFP.
bars when I was
Absolutely you
21
did.
and a half years old.
Absolutely you did.
That's what I used to vomit all over the front of my shirt as a 21-year-old.
Well,
All right. Do you
have
want to
anything else
continue?
to say?
Sorry. AMF.
so Amanda Palmer
AFM.
was
Amanda
A-
fucking Palmer. It's AFP.
And M wasn't even involved.
Yeah, where did the
I just-
Amanda?
I'd love to
Yeah.
ask you
Amanda?
this.
I was the
Lisa.
one that said it. I will claim
AFP.
I'd
responsibility.
love to ask you this.
Amanda fucking Palmer. She's a very influential artist to me. The way Kai feels about Tori Amos is the way I feel about Amanda Palmer. She was introduced to me right before I came out when I went through my faith transition.
Your shelf broke, as they say.
My shelf broke.
They say?
I
Sorry,
went-
they say?
Mm-hmm. They do.
Like, got me through my divorce, got me through some really crazy heavy times, but also what I love about Amanda Palmer is her irreverence towards
She's extremely irreverent towards everything.
towards specifically like accepting your own body. That was some like a lesson she taught me that I really needed to learn, was just being more open to like sexuality. And she's an open bisexual. I'm sure now she would maybe be more on like the pansexual train, but she's married to a man, has a kid, kind of like Tori, like lives a pretty hetero life now, but is very
Entrenched in the queer community.
entrenched in the queer community and very vocal about all sorts of queer activism and rights. And
So she was in a band, right?
she was in the Dresden Dolls.
Dresden Dolls. And
Yes.
they played a song that I would be familiar with.
Coin-operated
boy.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Coin.
I do. Okay. I know that there is like one thread that I can follow.
Yes.
Into this.
She was in the punk cabaret scene. She's a badass. Go listen to Theater is Evil if you don't know anything about Amanda Palmer. And just let her alto voice wash over you.
Okay. I like the alto voice. I didn't know that it was an alto voice.
She has a very low voice.
Okay. I know the one song. I know the one thread I can follow. In
Here's the thing. Dresden Dolls is not her best work.
No, it's not. I agree.
Theater is Evil.
Is her best
Who
work.
Killed Amanda Palmer.
Theater is Evil is her best work, in my opinion.
Same.
So
we obviously...
Are we going to talk about our
Yes.
project?
So like we've all been inspired and in some way impacted by these queer artists, and that's kind of why we started the LQ, which stands for the Lavender Queer, and it's our art zine that Kai and I started last year, kind of during the pandemic. It was a pandemic project. It's supported by this podcast, by these lovely people, and we may have some contributors who are anonymous at this table, who we won't name. But it's a really fun passion project that we started during the pandemic, and it's an art zine exclusively contributed by queer artists who have some sort of tie to Ogden, Utah.
And its whole purpose is to uplift the queer community in Ogden, because we both had this discussion that was like, we feel like there's so many queer people and so many like different kinds of queer people. I don't even know, but just like that the queer community in Ogden wasn't united. There's not really a gathering place. There's not a coffee shop or a bar or a so and I'm not here to describe what this gathering place will be, but just that there's a lack of a place for the queer community of any age group to go. And this is kind of the void that we wanted to fill with the zine.
And we feel really lucky because we feel like there's some sort of thread that's kind of connecting us all, whether it's, we know a lot of queer business owners or artists or customers from our shop, and we wanted something to kind of tie all these people together that we knew were so talented in a way that would benefit Ogden, that would showcase everyone's art, and to kind of pay them back, to like pay homage to these people, and also
or even to pay their starting fees so that they can like have some confidence that like, I am an artist and I want to be compensated for my skill and time and be validated. And to me, that was a big deal. Like, I want to validate first time creators.
And that, I was going to say that it seems like you picked a lot of people that their art was, you know, they don't have like a big following, maybe. Like, there were maybe new artists.
Kind of under the radar. Their art's under the radar.
And like, they have a connection to Ogden, and they applied to be a part of this like community project and make some money. And I want to make sure that we mention that your zine pays artists
$100. If your submission gets printed, you get paid $100. And that's very important to me, that we pay our contributors instead of riding the wave of exposure, because we've been in that position, and riding the wave of exposure doesn't really do much. So
not only that too, but like how, like Kai said, it can be so validating for someone to recognize you as a creator or an artist, to be able to say you're a published artist is huge for the next thing they apply for, or a resume, whatever it is, a scholarship. And then, to give them compensation, because we all know everyone's doing their best to get by. And if you can, if we can help put some food on your table or help pay your rent, whatever it is, like,
or pay your studio rent, help contribute.
Yeah.
Like $100 isn't a lot, but it's something, you know.
So that's kind of, with the help of Ogden City, we did get an arts grant from the city to help pay our artists. We also got an arts grant this year from Project Rainbow.
We're super stoked.
We're really
about
excited about that. And we're taking sponsorships for the second issue so we can print even more artist work. So
we did 16 in the last issue, and we're aiming to do 10 more this time. 26, but it absolutely depends on sponsorship. Like, we have a budget to print the 16, which we printed the first time, but this time we're opening up for ads, trying to get other businesses and creators that feel like they're in a place where they want to sponsor another artist to contribute. And, we really just want to open up the budget so that we can feature many more queer artists, because there are so many queer artists in Ogden.
And we'll print as many artists as we have funding for.
Yes.
So,
because we want to pay everybody that gets printed. It's just part of the very core mission of what our zine is.
if any of our listeners are interested in sponsoring an artist, we are charging $125 to sponsor an artist, and that goes directly to the artist fee and our printing fees. We don't make any money off of that. And if you're a business or you want to place an ad for whatever cause you support, the $125 also gets you a fourth page ad. And we're also just taking donations if people want to donate towards our artist fees.
So with the sponsorship, are you able to how exactly does that work? So if I'm a business and I own Alyx's Bagel Shop LLC.
Oh God, I wish you owned Alyx's Bagel Shop LLC.
Bagels?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd like some bagels.
And I come to you and I say, I want to sponsor an artist and here's my $125.
Perfect.
So then I get an ad.
You get a
quarter
fourth
of a
page.
page. And I get to say, come to Alyx's Bagel Shop. You get a free bagel for mentioning this ad.
Yeah, it can have a coupon, or it can literally just be your logo. It can be whatever you want. You just tell us what you want it to look like. Or if you already have an ad designed, then you just submit it to us and we'll print it.
But we will design it for you with
Yes.
your logo
With
if you
no
don't feel
additional
comfortable with design
fee.
skills.
Okay.
Like, you pay your $125 if you don't want to make your ad, we will make it for you.
But then I get to say, I am sponsoring Little Jimmy's art specifically, or just
No, you
It's
won't,
just
you
the-
won't claim you unless okay. So for example, I had somebody reach out to me that was wanting to sponsor an ad, but didn't. It was a personal
okay.
thing, so they didn't need
they don't
an
own
ad.
a business.
So they said
Okay.
instead, we would like to feature this organization. Can
Okay.
you? And so that is absolutely an option. If you yourself feel like you don't need to highlight yourself, but there's some organization or project or
Or a
anything
charity
that feels
or
like
something that's
near and dear
close
to your heart that you want to sponsor, we will do an ad for them. We'll tag all their social medias. And that's the other thing. If you do an ad with us, it's not just we're printing it in our magazine. We're going to do a feature on you and what your business offers for our Instagram followers, and highlight you as a company on our online platform and what you do, and just connecting that you're friendly with the queer community.
So if I don't have an Instagram
Which you don't.
and I own Alyx's Bagel Shop LLC,
Which you don't.
then
then I
you
could just
can just holler at me and
I'd say I want to give you $5 to help
Yeah.
printing costs.
you can give
Or-
me a $5 bill. You can write me a check. You can send me a Venmo. You can send me a PayPal. You can call me on the phone and make a credit card payment
We
online.
take dimes,
we do.
quarters,
We
not
do.
nickels.
Well, I take nickels.
Okay.
But for real, it's whatever the size of your donation, whatever reason, whatever, if you want it to sponsor something, you don't want it to sponsor something, every cent, legitimately, every single cent counts towards making this as big and as widespread as it can possibly be.
So my question now is,
No.
sorry, I have a lot
She
of
hasn't
questions.
had any questions yet. Just now.
So the submission time is open, and if I'm an artist, and
Which you are.
thank you, and I want to submit something to you, how do I go about doing that?
So if you want to give a donation or you're submitting art and you don't have Instagram, you can email us at thelqzine@gmail.com.
Don't forget it's the LQ Zine. at
All
gmail.com.
meshed together.
All meshed together. And if you do have Instagram, you can go to _LQ_, and that will get you our profile. And the link in our bio has a bunch of different links. So it says donate here, submit your art here. There's a bunch of different things.
Sponsor here.
Add sponsors here.
It's-
So there's
it's very-
links
yeah.
all in our link tree on our Instagram at _LQ_.
But if you don't have Instagram, like
Just
Alex
email us.
Send a
does
carrier
not,
pigeon.
Yes.
The LQZine@gmail.com.
just go to IFA, buy a carrier.
Buy a
pigeon.
carrier pigeon. Tie a little note to his foot. Send him to Lavender Vinyl on
Yes.
25th Street.
That's also
Make
a safe
sure
bet
you-
if
And
all
talk
else
to
fails,
whoever's
come to Lavender Vinyl and talk to whoever's working there, and they'll point you in the right direction.
Also, just make sure you have a return address for your pigeon.
Yeah.
So he
Yes,
doesn't.
we
just
don't
get
need
lost.
a lost. fucking-
Why don't you just carry your pigeon down to the vinyl
Carrier
store?
pigeon.
Carry your
Well, then what's the point of the pigeon? You could just walk it down.
Well,
It's cute.
but then you don't get to like make a little artsy scroll and say, "I don't have a social media. Can you tell?"
You could just hand me your
Yeah.
scroll.
you can tell. Can you tell that Alex doesn't have a social media?
Yeah, I can tell. So
I can't.
whether you're an artist or a business, if you want to be a part of the LQ Spring Edition, we've extended our deadline to March 25th. So submit your art by then or talk to us about placing an ad
before March 25th.
before March 25th.
March 25th.
And also, something important to mention, we want you to get creative with your submissions. If we can print it, you can submit it. I don't care if it's a sculpture, a recipe, a painting, a drawing, a tattoo, a mural,
A poem.
poetry,
a journalistic
Nice
article,
photograph of my geriatric cat.
literally
Anything.
anything that is artistic in your eyes that we can print in a magazine. We want it.
And we want a diverse type of art, content, subject matter. Like we want to see how creative you can get. And you just have to have some sort of tie to Ogden. Whether that's you were born
Listening
here.
to this podcast.
You listen to this podcast. You drove through here once on your way to the Grand Canyon. You have listened to a Joe McQueen or a Joe
Yeah.
McQueen album. Like, whatever it is, if you have some
If you
sort
can
of
tie into Ogden, we
tie, we want you to be creative
Well,
with how
let's-
you're associated to.
Let's tone it down here.
I will not tone it down, Lindsay.
All right.
What do you
Never
want
mind.
toned down?
I
Never
feel
mind.
like we're trying to open up.
Make it wild.
We want to make it a little more wide. Not to say that there weren't many wonderful contributing artists, but that we want we want it to be representative of how wild West Ogden vibes. Like, if you came through here, if you're connected, if you come down here and work 2 days a week, whatever it may be, like, we really want to see different connections to the city. It's not just about if you're a resident here.
Write a story about the time you drove through Ogden.
Yeah.
Like, write a little short story.
I smelled the smell that
The
could
dog.
only be described
The dog.
as the food I feed my dog.
Yeah.
That would be a great
Kibbles and
short
bits.
story. I love that.
Kibbles and bits and bits and bits. Thank you. Good night.
Yippee!
This issue of the LQ will be released April 23rd at Lavender Vinyl for Record Store Day.
I'm so stoked about that because we've not been able to have a regular ass record store day since 2019.
Regular ass.
Yeah. Well, just like that stuck to the date, that stuck to the pattern, that stuck to the traditional flow of how things are going. And I don't say this to dog anything. I'm so thankful for the support that we've had over the pandemic that is still continuing, and people coming out of their way to visit us at the shop and support us. But I feel like this year in 2022, April 23rd, like it's kind of the first time that we're allowed to do things to the most sense of normality that we've had since 2019. And by that, just having the regular date, in the past couple years, they moved the date until June, and then they split it into 3 dates to try to separate the crowd and June, July, August. And I'm just really excited to have the main record store day event happening on April 23rd and having the main celebration of what we were able to do pre-pandemic of celebrating small, independently owned shops. And
Are you still going to do it outside?
yes.
I like that.
It also like makes it feel fun, like it's a real event.
It's like the
a
picnic
special
of shopping.
edition.
It is. It's a shopping picnic. I love that. And it does. It feels really
Could someone
exciting.
bring booze next time?
Yeah.
Except for us? Like,
Yeah.
we don't
Could you bring us a bottle of something, please? No, but
Get your
really, like in years
picnic
past,
on.
like we've had many customers, like someone would bring a box of donuts, and someone would bring a box of bagels, and someone would bring a bottle of
Alex, was it
Baileys,
your
and-
business?
God.
Did
Alex's
your
bagel
business
shop?
provide us
My
bagels?
If
No.
I had a bagel shop, my body would look a lot different.
You would make $0 because you'd just be
I would
giving
make
out
$0.
bagels.
Yeah. I would be 98% bagel.
You just have like a bagel.
You have a big circle cut out in your stomach. Like you're
Yeah. Yeah.
I identify as a bagel.
Yeehaw!
And now, our Queer Joy Roundup for the week.
Oh, shit.
Who's gonna start?
I will start.
I'm ready.
Nobody would know this because I don't have an Instagram, but I got my hair cut. I'm back.
It looks so
I'm back to
good.
short hair. It is my queer moment of joy.
Yeah, you do need to do a side swipe for
I
anybody.
I
who's-
washed my hair, so it's a little bit like messy and curly.
I love it. I love.
I
how
love it
curly
too.
is.
It looks
I'm
so
letting
good.
it be free.
Living its own life.
Yep.
So where'd you go to get your haircut?
I went, as a matter of fact, to a place in Salt Lake City called Friar Tuck's Barbershop, and it is a queer barbershop, explicitly queer. It's a very small place. There's only 2 chairs, and the barbers, I only met one, but like it was a very good experience, and I had a good conversation, and I didn't feel like I was interrogated
Or just
by
like the right amount of conversation?
It was the right amount of conversation
Not
and the
overly.
perfect comfort level for me. Oh, and we need to tag them when we have to like tag them
Let's tag them.
because I told
Thanks,
you.
honey. I'll tag them.
Tagging, that thing called tagging.
So I was like, we have to let them know they did a good job on my haircut. How do we do that? Let's tag them.
Yeah, Alex doesn't really
Because
know
your
what that means,
haircut
but
looks
we'll do it.
dope.
It
as
does.
fuck.
Thank you. I am super pumped about it, and I feel like the weight of a ponytail has been lifted off my shoulders.
Thank God. Thank
Yeah,
God.
I know. It was my quarantine project, growing my hair out.
You and Lindsay Huss.
Me and Lindsay
I
Huss,
will say it
speaking of-
here on this podcast.
speaking
that
of queer
Lindsay
artists-
gave up early.
She did. She
She
cut her
did.
hair off before I did.
Can I just put it on the record that both of you are people who need short hair? Like you both have
Both short hair
And we were both
persons.
like,
you
let's
both have
grow our hair
great
out.
you both have the perfect bone structure
we would love to shout out Cass and Friar Tuck's Barbershop
And Kai, right?
Their information
Yeah.
will be in our show notes if you would like to get your hair cut by those queer barbers.
Kai is in Helper, Utah, no.
There's
Yeah,
a
the
lot
owner's
of
name
queer
is
Kais in the world, so cheers to queer Kais, everybody. Cheers to queer Kais.
Sorry.
Come on.
We're forced to do this.
We're forced to cheers right now.
God,
Jesus
that was
Christ.
so aggressive.
Okay. Who else has some queer joy?
All right, I can go next.
Thank God.
It's kind of been a long time coming, and today my therapist asked me, like, how long has this been coming? And
You're like, it's kind of been a long time.
it's kind of been a long time. But, like, realistically, all right, I got my passport, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I got my passport with my real ass name and my real ass gender. And for anybody who's listening, it was a bitch to get it. I'm not going to pretend like it was easy. I did have a lot of things favor going in my way when I initially applied for this passport earlier this year in January, like literally January 2nd. I filled out all of my documents. I sent in everything they asked for, which was a renewal form. There was a segment of questions that I had to answer. And I, according to everything that I answered, I was eligible to apply for the renewal because I had a previous passport, but however it was issued in my previous name and gender. And so to my knowledge, they told me it was fine. I could apply, and I got denied. Basically, they sent me a letter saying you filled out the wrong form. You should have filled out a brand new application rather than a renewal. The local folks here in Ogden told me that the people at the passport issuing office in Philadelphia or wherever they were, Virginia, I don't know, whatever, somewhere east-ish of here, they told me that they were new and probably didn't really know the protocol. I don't know what the case is. I don't know if there was some Chad that was like, no, this guy's not getting his passport. I don't know. I don't know what the reason was, but they denied it. I had to go back in and fill out a new passport form for a brand new application, and I got it in the mail this week. And that's my queer joy because it's something I've wanted to get my hands on for the last 3 years. It gives me like a sense of security in a weird way. Like I'm hearing about all these like scary things of all this unrest and war that's happening in Russia and the Ukraine, and people trying to leave there that can't because their birth documents don't match their current identity. There was an article that was in the Salt Lake Tribune on like the 25th of January, so fairly recently. Then the author was a trans man who just like pointed out all this stuff about how every time he travels, like one of his lines was like, I could count on both hands the number of times that I've missed a flight because I was frisked by the airport security and suspicious because my body did not match my identification. And there's so many instances of this kind of thing that's happening, and it's happening not just when you get on a flight, but like to the degree that people are literally stuck in a war-feared country that they can't get out of because their gender identity and how their body is and how they are now with a full beard and like all this change happening.
Really full beard.
Yeah, mine's scruffy. it's shitty, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to emulate toxic positivity, because I want to showcase that I'm very lucky and privileged, and I'm very thankful. But that being said, like, getting my passport in the mail this last week was like, I have everything I need now. Like, I feel safe and I feel secure, and I feel like I can, whatever comes my way, I can handle it because I'm legally identified with my identity, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, and luckily you only had to deal with like redoing paperwork one time.
And not 18.
I can imagine that there are people that it's just a constant battle for every piece of identification.
Yes, and this man who wrote the Salt Lake Tribune article about how he had been frisked at the airport and missed over one hand's flights, mentioned in the article, like, I don't have identification that matches up with how I'm like presenting, and that's really scary. I mean, I think about it and I'm like, like, yeah, sure, you go to the bar, and if your local bar isn't friendly, you show your ID, like that could be very scary, and I don't want to dismiss that. But then you think about things like any kind of legal situation where you have to present identification. You go to the bank, like whatever, like any kind of situation where you have to present ID, which is often in our life here, could potentially be a very scary and hard time and triggering. And I don't know, like, again, I don't want to like be joyful above others, because that's not what I am, but I am just wanting, my queer joy this week is that I'm thankful that I am in the position where I am, and it's because of so many people who've helped me get to the position that I'm in, that I have all my legal documents in order, and I am very thankful for that.
Okay, you should shout out the Utah Pride, how they have another workshop coming up, and that's what helped you. Yeah,
so there were a couple things that helped me kind of get to where I am, and one was Rainbow Law. I went and met with this amazing lawyer who kind of gave me a scoop of like, you need to get with the Utah Pride Center. They'll help you rearrange your name and gender stuff, because I was wanting to change my legal pronoun on my driver's license, and this is why I got set up with this woman. She was offering, through Slug Magazine, she was offering like a free consultation to come and sit down and go over everything and what was needed. And she was like, if you want to file your own gender change paperwork and have me look over it, it's free. If you want me to do all the work and file it and then look over it and then come see you through court, it's this many dollars. And I ended up deciding I was just going to do it myself. And then I had a good friend come through to do my court stuff for me. So, like, again, I just had a lot of people that showed up for me that really came through and helped me out. And I know that that's not the case for everybody. I feel really lucky and privileged, but I'm going to celebrate it, because for me, it was a big win to get my passport, because my therapist asked me today, like, so how long did it take you to get your passport? And my first answer was, well, I initially applied for it under my new name in January of this year. So really, like, not very long. But if you think about what it took before that, like getting my new birth certificate, getting my new social security card, getting my new driver's license, and all of that was a product of going to a court hearing and changing my name and gender. Like, it took 3 years. It took me 3 years. So I know I've kind of been on a soapbox, and I didn't mean to be, but I am thankful. I feel really privileged that I have my passport with my correct gender pronouns and name on it, and I'm very thankful.
Lindsay, what's your queer joy this week? Do you know, or do you need a minute?
I don't think it was this week, so I'm just going to steal
your joy from any day and talk about it.
Recent queer joy.
I had a birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's enough.
You had a really queer birthday too.
It was very fun. Like, all the people that showed up and wanted to celebrate made me feel very good.
And we
So-
pre-gamed your birthday, which was great. We pre-gamed brunch.
Mm.
We brunched.
Yeah, we had a Bloody Mary pre-brunch, and then a brunch, and then
And then
Other-
a bar.
and
And then
then-
chocolate cake.
yeah,
And then pizza.
And then came to
pizza
our
at our
house for a
house.
post party.
Post party. Yeah, no, I was very drunk, so I wasn't a good host at my house, but I was definitely happy,
Your wife took care of the hosting.
which is funny.
I
'cause
feel like
she should.
She did not want people at the house.
I didn't. I told Lindsay, do not invite anyone over. Like, I don't
think it was you who invited us over, wasn't it?
It was.
Okay. So you changed your mind?
Was.
Well, we got down to a group of people that I was like, this is manageable, and everybody's already drunk. So, like, I didn't have to, like, go find beers for everyone. And, like, I told you up front, I didn't have a lot of food.
And we ordered pizza.
No, it was
Yeah,
great.
It was wonderful.
It was
fun.
I feel like I don't know how to top that, really. So
That
that's-
whole day was just
it was a very
so
fun day.
fun,
And it was a Sunday.
which was even better.
And
Yeah.
No one had to work the
a
next
lot
day.
of people didn't have to
A
work the
lot
next
of
day.
people.
Oh, Kai had to work the next
I
day.
know.
I gotta say, our house was empty by 9 p.m.
It was great.
Well, we started at 10 a.m.
Right.
That's
That's
that's how
perfect.
you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start early so
was
you can
good.
get to fucking bed. Cause I ain't fucking around. I need to sleep.
I know.
Part of a good birthday is getting a good night's
I gotta
sleep.
sleep. I want to sleep. I want to sleep in. I want to get to bed early. I want to be asleep.
If it's double digits on a Sunday night, I don't care if there's a holiday the next day.
Yeah.
I gotta be in bed.
Yeah.
But it was fucking great, and I'm happy about it.
It was a great day. Everything about that day was great.
All right, Lisa, what is your queer joy?
I had a fun little queer joy moment today, as a matter of fact. I was listening to one of my regular podcasts that I subscribe to called Query with Cameron Esposito. And she just interviews different queer guests. It's just kind of like a fun, easygoing thing. Query, yeah. And it was kind of a serendipitous moment because she was interviewing an actress I hadn't thought about for years, and her name is Allie Liebert. Does anyone know who Allie Liebert is? Picture this. It's 2013.
Oh no.
Lisa is a baby queer, living in California, just barely came out, and a lot of weird things just kind of lined up. At the time, a show called Bomb Girls was on, which was a show about women who worked in a bomb factory in Canada during World War II. And there is this lesbian subplot that just really spoke to me.
A World
the
War II
actress-
lady film.
And the actress
Girl, you
in the
looking
show
bomb.
You look bomb.
was called, her name is Allie Liebert. And we happened to meet her in LA at a concert.
we?
Me and my girlfriend at the time,
Oh, okay.
What was the band?
Kayukas.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
That sounds like. Never mind.
It's a very surfy, like
California band.
California
Okay.
band. It's like they should be on the OC playing the California
Yeah,
soundtrack.
they should be.
Like it's like the most California band you can ever think of.
So it's
Okay,
2013.
says the record guy.
I meet this actress who I really love and kind of have a crush on, and she's She's on this show. Yeah, I met her in real life.
In real life.
Because they stalked her at this Cayucas show in LA, but we don't have to mention that, I guess.
Honey, that's really rude.
No,
it was one of those things when you're like in the right place at the right time and all the stars align and you're
Is that why you started like loving Cayucas?
Well, I knew who they were before that.
Okay.
So anyway, fast forward, it's 2022. I haven't thought about Allie Liebert for years, and she just pops up on this
Your
podcast.
porch? Oh, your porch.
Not on my
She was
porch.
ringing our doorbell this morning.
She's like,
Hey.
No, but she's on this podcast that just pops up on my podcast queue, and lo and behold, she's come out in the last few years.
Lo and behold.
Lo and behold, at the
she's
time-
like,
After
back
her
in
role on the
2013, there was
L-Word.
this.
After her
This
role
gal that
on-
I'm sure you had nothing to do with it, Lisa.
No. But fun fact, I don't think you're ready for this.
I'm not.
Alex, you're not ready for this. Allie Liebert played the first lead lesbian character in a Hallmark movie.
Oh no.
It's just really fun because I haven't thought about her in
A million
what,
years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Like I didn't even I just like forgot
I
that
like
she
that she
exists.
looked to you.
And today she
In
just
what?
popped
Well,
back
you
into
guys
your
are
reality.
listeners.
You said
she
10, and I was like, a million?
Yeah.
It's probably been legitimately about 10, right?
Yeah, it's probably been close to 10 years. And I really haven't thought about her, and for her to just pop up and like she
Back into your life.
her first
I should
you
be
guys,
threatened.
I'm
Okay,
telling
all right.
my story.
Let's let Lisa tell her
I'm
story.
But
I should be threatened.
back
So-
into your life. I thought it
She
was-
played this really pivotal role as this very pivotal queer role, and she wasn't even out, and she kind of became, even though she's not like this big name celebrity, she kind of became typecast in these queer roles, and she wasn't out. She said in this interview, like, I just thought I was being a great ally. I love the queer community. I felt comfortable. And like, she just came out a couple years ago, and she's like our age. She's in her 30s. She's been in Hollywood for a long time. She's done a lot of different things. And I just think it's cool. It like felt like a full circle moment. And I came out in my 30s. It's cool to see someone who like I looked up to and respected as an actor and a queer artist who I didn't even know was queer
Allie Mack.
to now. Allie Liebert. Look her up.
Sorry.
I'm going to
Watch Bomb Girls
Bomb Girls
Bomb
is
Girls
very enjoyable.
is a really
we,
fun show.
We like bonded over this on our way over talking about it, but like I love that show too.
Is Allie Liebert a Canadian actress?
She sure is.
Okay, so this
She
is the right
sure
person.
She's from Vancouver.
You know, honey, if we had the opportunity to marry a Canadian, I think we should take it.
You should. I absolutely approve
So we
my
can
stamp
have dual
on that.
citizenship
Honey,
here.
we are married.
Yeah, but you could
Is this like a
enter like
Can
a,
you just
polyamorous?
marry
a Joseph
I don't
Smith
think-
style
I don't
marriage
think that you
and
can
just add another
polyamorous
wife.
over the border.
Well, other people have done it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I also went to Vancouver once. I feel like there's a lot of serendipitous things about this whole scenario and the timeline of it. Like, it just felt very joyful.
You don't like the cold, though.
No, I don't, but I
We could
love
never live in
Vancouver.
Vancouver. We could
I
never
love
live there.
Vancouver. I've only been there in July, so.
We
Did you
could
see her?
never live there.
What'd
Yeah,
you think?
I don't know her in any type of like entertainment.
She's
capacity.
never been in anything huge, although her first role was in the L Word.
What? Who was she in the L Word?
Just like
I
she
wouldn't
was an
know.
extra,
Oh,
pretty much.
all right.
It's not Jenny.
She wasn't
She's
Jenny
not Jenny
Schechter.
Schechter. You don't know Jenny
Good.
Schechter.
This is so funny.
Okay, that's the end. That's the end of my queer joy.
All right. Well,
Thanks for listening.
It's not the end of your
no.
queer
Shout
joy.
out to Allie Liebert.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Come on.
Yeah, shout out to Allie Liebert if you ever want to let us interview you on this podcast
Or whatever.
Or just like hang out in Vancouver.
Should we just tag her and be like, "What up, girl? Do you want to be on our podcast?"
Yeah, we should do that.
We're like, you have to fly into Ogden, Utah.
Remember when I met you in
someday we'll-
2013 in a club
someday
in
we'll be
LA?
able to fly you into Ogden, Utah.
Into the
I don't know.
Ogden
Or maybe
airport.
someday we'll
Right
fly
in
into
first
Burbank
class.
and interview you there. I don't know.
She lives in Vancouver.
First class,
She lives in
right into
Canada.
the
Well,
Ogden
she goes to
airport.
LA. Apparently, she likes to go to
At
LA.
least 10 years ago, she did.
All right,
At
well.
least 10 years ago.
All right. Does anyone have anything else?
This has been Toasted Lavender Podcast.
It has.
Hey, check out our Patreon if you want to support us.
Sure.
Or you can just continue listening. We appreciate that too.
I do.
Tell your friends.
I really do.
We got our 1,000 downloads email
What?
like a month ago. And that's a huge milestone, so I'd like to cheers to that.
Oh,
Thank you for
cheers.
everybody
Yeah.
Cheers,
Clink
you
a
guys.
glass
has
to
been
that.
listening and downloading our podcast. Like that's pretty. It feels pretty good for a little small town group like us to hit 1,000 followers.
Ooh, I felt that when you said small town.
We are small.
We are. It's real.
We don't know much or expect much.
No, we're just a bunch of.
We're just a bunch of
Weirdo queerdos.
And we
Okay.
got 6
Doodles.
dogs and 3 cats between us.
And we need to eat dinner.
Yep. All right. Cheers, queers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good night.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Lisa.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Oh my god. Just in case Trump gets elected again, you can run.
We are all
Dude,
out.
that's my reason. I'm not even like I know it's like we laugh about it, but like with
I'm
all this
not.
shit that's happening
if
with
something
Putin,
happens,
like
we gotta.
if
fucking
something happens, I'm
out.
fucking out, and I gotta be out of here, and I don't care. Like I just gotta go.
I think ours expires soon,
You should
It's next
by the
year.
way.
you should get yours renewed
Yeah, just in case.
because we might need to move to Amsterdam.
Yeah, you're right.
Or Canada.
Either way, whatever is easier. And
We
then
gotta
can
take
all of our
6
animals.
dogs
we
and
can't,
3 cats.
we can't put all the animals on a plane unless we
Literally
rent our own
6
plane.
dogs.
We just charter a plane.
6 dogs
become
and 3
friends with
cats
friends.
between us.
Speaking of privilege, we're like,
No.
let's charter a plane.
Let's call Kim Kardashian.